This Sunday, thousands upon thousands upon thousands of Jewish people are going to be walking in the Walk for Israel in Toronto. Last year, over 50,000 people attended the Walk for Israel. But has the police chief in Toronto learned anything after the wave of anti-Semitic violence and abuse that has gone on over the previous 2 years? And particularly, what happened last year when the participants in this Walk for Israel were made to walk down a tunnel of hate, abuse, and anti-Semitism. Let me tell you about that and why that has to change. The Walk for Israel is a time of celebration. It's not an anti-anything march. It's a celebration of Jews and their homeland in Israel. It's attended by moms and dads and kids, little kids, everything from in baby carriages to strollers to toddlers walking right alongside their parents. Not just the parents and the families and young children are there, teenagers are there, grandparents, people who would have survived the Holocaust were there. People who are walking in this parade knew people who died on October 7th over in Israel. This is a parade to bring together the spirit and the culture of Israel. It's a celebration. But what happened last year at the Walk cannot be allowed to happen this year on the Walk for Israel. In 2025, the police actually, and I'm going to leave this with the chief really, and the white shirts and the higher ups for this. They positioned the police to allow protesters to all gather on both sides of Bathurst Street, the street that the Walk for Israel was going down at Shepherd Avenue. They allowed them to get right there, right in the faces of the people who are walking. And they were yelling obscene things. They were yelling hate speech. They were yelling about river to the sea. You had people holding up dolls that looked like babies that were drenched in blood, calling names out to these families when they're walking by. I looked at mothers with their little children and fathers with these people yelling things. They dressed like terrorists. They hold up signs about how people from Israel shouldn't be allowed to live. You had one person wearing a replica grenade right on their hip. We've had other times where people have shown up with suicide vests, fake suicide vests, if you will, although who knows if they're fake. And the police allow them to sit there and they make 50,000 Jewish people walk through these people on either side with them yelling these horrific things at them. I thought it was abysmal policing. And let me tell you why. It's policing 101. And every cop watching this knows this. One of the first things you do when you get involved in policing is you learn how to de-escalate things. And where you learn it best is for domestic disputes. The first thing when you go there, you and your partner, two people are fighting, they're going at each other, you turn them away so they're not looking at each other. You separate them maybe into separate rooms and you start talking to them. You do not allow them, because every cop knows this. As soon as they turn and they look back at each other, boom, off it goes. It escalates. So that's one of the basics of policing is de-escalation. Why the police chose to allow these protesters to gather right on either side of the street where the Jewish people are walking is beyond me. They know that that's not de-escalation. They know that that's in fact asking for trouble. And they know that there are young children in this parade. Yet they still allowed that to exist last year. Now, the police in the past, they put them over a block away. And the police can do that. Same as if they were filming a movie on a street on Yonge Street. They block off all the streets all around. You just can't walk down there and start expressing yourself. The police are allowed to block you off and block off for these streets. They did it for the G7 and the G20 meetings. They tell people, your protest place is way over there. It's not right here where the leaders are going to be. So I want to see a change in the policing for this walk. The police need to put all these protesters far away. You cannot have families, Holocaust survivors, and Jewish people and ask them to run a gauntlet of hate, abuse, and anti-Semitism. That's not the way it should roll, especially with this last couple of years we've had shootings at Jewish schools. Jewish schools for little kids have been shot up, one of them 3 times. We've had synagogues shot up, bullets put through them. We've had Jews shot with gel guns at night out on Bathurst Street for walking. In fact, the Toronto police now are using their counterterrorism unit to investigate these instances of anti-Semitism. And for too long, the police have failed to do their job here, not arresting people for criminal harassment, intimidation, and the hate speech. They just haven't done it. But if it's enough for the police, when this walk goes on and these protesters come out, that they have to bring out SWAT teams, the fire department, ambulances, the bomb squad, and they need to bring all kinds of officers from other police forces to help reinforce the ranks. They put snipers on the roofs. Why? Because the police don't consider this peaceful protest. They consider it a protest that can break out in huge violence at any time. And the Jews do not deserve to be put through that. So we need to have buffer zones set up. It's standard policing. You would do it for anybody else. You put everybody a block away. You don't allow people to get right on that street. You don't allow the escalation. You don't allow the hate speech. And you don't allow the intimidation. You don't allow the replica weapons. You don't allow it. That's policing 101. And the Jews of Toronto deserve that. Nobody should lose your right to protest. You can protest peacefully. That's not a problem. The police can make sure they can protest, but what's happening when you make Jews walk down this tunnel of hate and abuse? That's not peaceful protest. That's intimidation and, in my opinion, criminal harassment that the police should be preventing. So the police have a chance this Sunday to show that they can do it and do it correctly, now that the lights of everybody is on them looking at what's going on. Allow people to have their protest. They just can't have it in the faces of these families, and allow the walk to go on in peace. It's not that difficult. Just follow the law. My name is Ross McLean. This is the McLean Chronicles. If you like the information on my channel, please like and follow, and I'll get you next video.